Today I'm going to be learning more about Poland by watching this video. This is called These Are 5 More Things That Surprise Me in Poland. And yeah, really interested to see this. I always like to see people's experiences in different countries. Especially this creator, Vigo's dad. He makes excellent content, so go subscribe to his channel. I'll leave the link in the description. But let's see what these things that surprised him about Poland are.
Tell you 5 more things that surprised me in Poland. Boom! Cześć ludzie! What's up, people? Hola, Vigo's dad here. It's such a nice weather today. It's 28 degrees. It feels so nice. So I decided, let's come out and just enjoy the outdoors. But you know what? Before I start, let's change this lens. And we're back. This lens a little bit better, a little wider. So we're gonna do part 2 of the things that surprised me in Poland, because I must say that the first video has been extremely successful, guys. The amount of views, we are like almost 12,000 views. You know, it's not always easy to get your point across when you're talking about someone else's country and when you're trying to explain things that you find interesting. Come over with me and let's talk about 5 more things that surprised me in Poland. Let's go. Number 1, Polish TV. So we're in Poland. We decided it's movie night and, you know, turn on the TV.
Co jest na TVN-ie? Władca pierścieni. Ej, co to za głos? To jakiś dubbing? Co to ma być?
For you guys that don't know, in Poland they have this guy who's called the Lech. He's supposed to translate the movies that come in other languages, read the dialogues that the characters are saying. So it doesn't matter what happens, this guy has the same tone of voice, and he's not even phone or foul. He's not like he's overly excited, but he's also not overly sad. Polish Lech is there speaking, and most of the times, I don't even know he's there. Another thing that surprised me quite a lot in Poland.
I've never heard that before, a lector, so he speaks over the movie, is it, when the actors are acting? Does he, he repeats the dialogue, so is it just like dubbing? Does he speak in Polish? Is it like that? Do you have Polish voice actors who dub movies properly to get the emotions and things of the original actors? But Polish TV, I've been watching things like Polish Cabaret. I've seen clips of Polish movies and Polish TV. I've been very impressed. It's a really high quality, not even just the TV. If we go back to Legendy Polskie series from Allegro, really high quality TV. What is normal Polish TV like? Is there any interesting TV that's not comedy or drama? Maybe like something like sitcoms and things like that. Is there any other types of good Polish TV shows?
Polish TV was the amount of ads with medicine. You're watching the show and then you have reklama, commercials, and I'm not kidding you guys, 80% of the commercials are medicine. Medicine for your stomach, medicine for your hangover, and you guys are so used to it that obviously you don't even notice it. I remember that I told my wife and I said, hey, have you noticed how many commercials are there with medicine? And she was like, actually true.
Is that true then? So that's something I really associate with the USA. I know that like advertisements for and commercials for drugs and medicines are very common there. Very, like, a lot of adverts are of that type of advert. I didn't know it happened in many other countries, so it surprises me that it happens in Poland as well. Do you think that's a good thing, a bad thing? Some people say about the USA is it's bad because it just pushes drugs and makes people more likely to take things. Is that the case in Poland, or is it just people don't really care about it?
Have you ever just hugged a tree? They say it's great. Let's try. Number 2, weather. Kuba, załóż kapcie. Kuba, sabnij się. Gdzie masz kurtkę? If you're Polish, there's a very high chance that you've heard these phrases many times throughout your childhood. You might be even saying them to your kids. And that was very surprising to me, which is that Polish people are not that good with cold weather. All right, hold on. Don't click that dislike button just yet. Hear me out. I don't want to say that you overdress, but you do wear a lot of layers. You live in a country that has very harsh winters, and frostbite and pneumonia are real dangers out there. I've discovered that Polish people don't like feeling cold. You're great at covering up using the right amount of winter gear, the right amount of layers, but the moment that your skin gets exposed, and I know what you're saying, you're probably thinking, what is this Latino here telling me how to deal with cold? I know, we are terrible. If it's below 10 degrees, we cannot even think straight. In my particular case, I like feeling cold. I hate feeling hot. This right now is getting a little bit too much. No, seriously, it's getting a little bit too much. Let's go to the shadow.
That's interesting as well. So yeah, tell me more about the weather in Poland. I don't really know about it. He said it's like 28 degrees. Would that be the warmest it can get? Is that the height of summer? That sounds like a good temperature for me. But yeah, for me, I think the stereotype of Poland is probably that the winters can be very cold. Interesting, he says that Polish people don't really like cold weather. I'm from Scotland. Our weather's very cold for most of the year, especially during winter, and I really don't like cold weather either. That's why I now live in Malaysia, where it's 32 degrees Celsius every day, humid. I much prefer being warm rather than cold.
Vigo would have gone crazy for that. Okay, how do I explain this one? Number 3, communism. There are traces of communism everywhere in Poland. And when you go for the first time or for the first times, it starts to become very apparent how much of it is ingrained in the society. It's in the architecture, it's even in the mindset of some of the citizens. Pani na kasie w PKS-ie. The lady selling tickets at the train station. She's gonna have a little bit of attitude. She's gonna tell you things straightforward like they are. She's gonna get pissed at you because you don't have change. But all games aside, I don't wanna mock this. This is a society that has gone through a lot of hardship. Communism was not a good time. You know, we are neighbors with Cuba, so we kind of have an idea what communism was about. And I'm thankful that Dominican Republic was never part of something like this.
Yeah, tell me about that. Do you agree with that? Do you still see remnants of communism in people's mentality or personality? Is it only the older generation, or do some of the younger generation have those tendencies as well? The thing I would be interested in is the architecture. I really like architecture, especially different countries having their own unique architectures. And communist architecture for me is very interesting. So tell me what you think of communist architecture in Poland. Is there anywhere that has really nice buildings that show that off? Any cities that have more than any others? But yeah, tell me what you think about that.
Other things that were actually quite interesting to me and astonishing were the famous bar mleczne, or the literal translation in English would be milk bars. This became quite popular after the First World War, but they actually became crucial after the Second World War, especially after Poland became a communist state where most people were living in poverty, contrary to official propaganda. And also the more upscale restaurants were labeled capitalist. Most people could not afford to eat in a decent place outside, so bar mleczne became a crucial and integral part of the Polish community and culture, where you could be served nursing food for, not so expensive. And I actually feel quite lucky and humbled that I was able to go to one and to enjoy some delicious Polish food that was served in the traditional way, that was served even during those hard times.
So bar mleczne, that's actually one of the things I think if I come to Poland that I would actually really love to try the food there. Tell me, how often do you go to a place like that? Do you have anyone that's near where you live? What sort of food do you get from there? From my understanding, it seems to be very hearty, filling, fulfilling, and relatively inexpensive food, which is ideal for me. I think I would probably eat somewhere that quite regularly. But tell me what you think about them, and tell me how they differ. Is there really nice ones that are not so good?
Okej, żart dla was. Przychodzi facet do okulisty I mówi: dzień dobry, poproszę okulary. Do czego? Do widzenia. Do widzenia. She's making fun of my dad joke. That's something else that surprised me quite a lot when I went to Poland. And actually, you know, all throughout my experience with Polish people, it's humor. The humor of Polish people is actually a little bit different. It's, first of all, it's darker. You guys have darker sense of humor, for sure. It's a little bit more self-deprecating.
Yeah, sarcastic, self-deprecating.
Yeah. Sometimes she would
Same
make
like
jokes.
British.
When she lived in the Dominican Republic for, you know, a year, and sometimes she would make jokes, and then people would be like,
Will feel bad for me.
Don't say that about yourself. Like, she's just joking. But anyways, it's more a little bit more self-deprecating, and also it happens that, you know, we have a lot of Polish movies, and some of them are supposed to be comedies, and then they
Supposed to be comedies.
Yeah, and they have, you know, they have English subtitles, but you know, sometimes I sit there and they are looking at me like, wasn't funny, and I'm like,
Yeah, they have too many cultural references and like language jokes.
Yeah.
Like you have to, and they are not translatable.
it's like more. I mean, you said it to
And
me
the
the other day,
context.
like like
and
context
the cultural
based.
context is like, for example, we were trying to see Sami Swoi and you are not getting it at all.
But and another thing
we
is
have
that
to try maybe more modern ones.
maybe, but I
stand-up,
noticed
we've seen several stand-ups and they were kind of entertaining.
dark humor again. And the last thing that I noticed about the Polish humor is that a lot of the times it's not followed by laughter per se. Like, for example, you guys don't make what you would call, you know, like stupid joke faces, kind of like a Jim Carrey type of things like Americans do. You guys are more like with substance. You know, the joke itself is inside the joke. It's not a funny face that you make. You know what I mean?
I know.
At least
I know what you
I've
mean.
noticed that.
Yeah, but I also thought that you meant that we don't like fall over laughing. Like we sometimes just say,
Yeah,
"Oh,
like
that's funny,"
like
or
sometimes jokes don't follow a laughter. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
okay.
like you're not gonna go and say yeah da 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 ha 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 ha. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's it. That surprised me. Your humor.
Yeah, also with regards to Polish stand-ups, recommend your favourite Polish stand-up or recommend some different ones. I've been watching a lot of Polish cabaret and really enjoying it. I'd love to see some more modern Polish stand-up comedians. And I think one reason I really enjoy Polish comedy and cabaret, for instance, is I feel like Polish humour and like sense of humour is very similar to British. We're very self-deprecating, very sarcastic. So I think we really share that humour in common. I never really knew that before started learning about Poland, but it's pretty cool to know. And I think that's why I enjoy Polish comedy so much.
The last thing that actually surprised me quite a lot when I went to Poland is the name situation. So let me explain.
we have 5 names only.
Exactly,
10
you
names.
have like a pool of names that is actually quite small. I met a lot of Magdas, a lot of Katarzyna, a lot of Anya, and
Well, Carolina also is not that original. Every generation has their pool of names that repeat, and they're very, very common in my grandparents' generation, parents' generation, and my generation. And then the next generation is going to have new, recycled names that are not going to be in fashion.
I get it. But that was quite surprising. And for example, when we knew that Vigo was going to be a boy, I was very much in love with the name Vigo. I love the actor Viggo Mortensen. That's where I got it from. But the name, I fell in love with it. And I proposed it to her, and she was at the beginning like,
Yeah, with the V, how we're going to make diminutives and, declension and all those things that I was thinking it's not going to work in Polish.
Yeah.
But you said, what did you say?
I said, we can name him Vigush.
Oh,
because
and I was
Vigush.
like, yeah, it's adorable.
But
How
you-
does it compare to Dominican Republic names?
Yeah, in Dominican Republic, basically, we have also like a pool of names that are repeated all the time, but it's a
Classic
lot. Yeah,
names.
classic.
Like
but
the biblical names, they exist in all languages.
Yes.
But apart from that,
the main difference is that we use a lot of compound names, which I don't think you guys use them as much. Like you can
don't.
have,
But
just
we never
call you
use
by
the
your-
second name.
Yeah, we do a lot. So that opens the possibility that you get one name that is classic. And the second name that is a little bit more risque, like
Batman.
Juan Batman Rodriguez.
you combine 2 names to create a new name for your baby. Like
Completely,
half a
100%.
name from the father and half a name from the mother.
Yes, Juan and Carolina, and it can be Huacar. I'm not
Yeah.
kidding either.
Yes, I've heard many of them that sound like this.
You know what? It gives me the idea. Would you like to see a video where we talk about the things that surprised her about Dominican Republic?
I have
What
some
surprised
dirt.
her the most?
I have
that'd
some
be cool.
dirt.
Let us know. Vote thumbs up if you want to see that. Boom! That's all, people. That's the end of the episode. I hope.
Yeah, that was really cool. Go subscribe to his channel. As I said, I'll leave the link in the description for the video, so go subscribe to his channel, watch his videos, support him. I think that's really interesting, especially about the names. Tell me if you have like a common name or if you have a more unique name. I think my son has quite a unique name. He has like an English first name, like British first name, and then a Chinese middle name because my wife is Malaysian Chinese, so it's like quite a cool name. Same as my daughter as well, of course, she has similar. And then my surname is very Scottish, so it's like quite interesting name. But yeah, very interesting. 5 cool things to know. Tell me what you think about all the things on this list. Thanks.